Guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nshabo and this is Applause with me, where we get to sit down and talk about life based on my experiences with the aim of personal development. So if you're new here and this is the first time you're popping into this channel, I welcome you. Full welcome, and I'm happy to have you here. If you do resonate with the content, please don't leave without subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up so that it can reach more people. We never know who might need this kind of information. And to my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much for joining me once again. I hope you've done the right thing. I hope you've subscribed. Please also do give this video a thumbs up, because it's gonna make it reach more people, and I really appreciate that. So this is a follow-up video from the previous video where I announced that I'm a third and final year student at Unisa for a psychology undergraduate degree. So this is me coming to sit down here and share my experiences on how this journey have been and how the University of South Africa rather operates and how things work on that side of things. So before wasting any more time, let's get right into this video. Unisa is a normal university. I would love to say that. It's like every other university. It has its advantages and its disadvantages, and on this video I'm gonna talk about both. So let's start with the disadvantages of studying at Unisa. So it's my third year in Unisa, with Unisa, and I feel like I'm in a better position to speak about how things work because I've seen it for the past 2 years. I've seen it in the past 2 years that I've studied with them, and I've gained a lot of reasonable experience rather to be able to sit down and share with those who maybe would like to study with Unisa, or those who are studying with Unisa, or just people who are curious to know how things actually work. Because to tell you the truth, until I had to apply at Unisa, until I had to do that research before I applied, I did not know how that university operated. I did not know how things really work, because I did hear about people not attending classes, it being distance learning and stuff like that, but I didn't really understand what they meant by that. So I'm gonna start with the bad things so that we end this video on a good note, because if I start with the good things and then we end with their bad things, then it's just gonna all go sour, and I do not want that. So Unisa is a distance learning university. It's not part-time, it is full-time. It is 100% full-time. I'm not sure if there are part-time courses. I never really had to research on that because I was always interested on the full-time side of things. So Unisa is full-time. The only difference is that we don't go to class. We do not attend classes. So Unisa is 100% online. Everything you do it online. Your assignments, your exams. Previously, before coronavirus, we used to have our exams. We would write our exams at venues. So they had venues for, maybe let's say for Venda, there was a venue, like a central venue where everyone in that area would go and write. There was a venue, Yagiani, there was literally like a huge venue for a specific area. So we would meet up like that and go write exams. And then when coronavirus happened, Unisa just went 100% online. So now we do our exams online. Assignments, we've been doing them online. So you get your, when you start with your studies, communication is online obviously, and then you do receive study materials. So you will get, like, for every module you would get a tutorial letter which will have previously it would have your assignments, like literally all your assignments would be on that book. And then your assignments, due dates, your every information that you needed to know about that module would be in that little book. And then you will have a study guide for that module, which would basically be like a summary of the textbook, a prescribed book. If that module has a prescribed book, then the study guide would probably be based on that prescribed book, like to guide you as to what to study, where to study in your prescribed book. And for modules that didn't have that didn't have prescribed books, then the study guide would literally have all the information that you would need to study in order to pass that module. So you do get that. We still get those every semester. So you will get 2 or 3, or depending on the module. Some modules have like 3 tutorial letters and 1 study guide. So it depends on the module what you get. They do deliver those to each and every student. You have an option of choosing delivery or collection at your nearest campus. Oh yes, Unisa does have campuses all over the world. Sorry, all over the country. We do have campuses. Like the same with how exam venues used to work. It's almost the same as the campuses, because there's a campus literally in almost every area, not like in villages, but if there's Malamulele, Giyani, then there'll be a campus for Giyani. Then there's one in Los Richard where all the vendors side of the country would go for assistance and everything. So yeah, they do have offices, they do have campuses. If you need help, you can always walk in there. Okay, so that was just a bit of background in terms of how Unisa works, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and give you guys the disadvantages, which I'm not really happy about because it's negative stuff and I'm afraid it's gonna make me feel negative, but I'm gonna try not to dwell much on it. I'm just gonna give highlights here and there, and then we're gonna speak about the positives. So like I said, Unisa is a full-time university. They have to accommodate each and every student who wants to study at Unisa and can afford to, and is able to, like who registers, who does that. So I don't remember much about my registrations in the normal universities. Okay, that contradicts what I just said, but in the universities where you are physically present in the campus, right? But with Unisa, your registration has to be finalized after you register. So you will be temporarily registered for a while until your registration is finalized. And then you will need to receive your study material, of course, and then you will need to, if you've completed your degree, then they will need to audit it for it to be complete, for it to go to the completion status. So the first disadvantage would be that almost everything at Unisa feels like it's very slow. It's very, very slow. Like, we must fight. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean you need to, for things to get done, you need to send emails, you need to call, and it's not always all the time where you will get assistance, or where you will even get through with the phone call, get through to someone who is actually willing to help. Or also with email, sometimes you get responses, sometimes you don't, because there's just too many of us, and if we're all facing the same problems, then that means everyone is going to send an email, and you find that it's just one lecturer, and they can't respond to everyone. So literally everything feels very slow, and that is very frustrating to almost every student that Unisa will tell you. When they finally graduate, they will tell you it's been one hell of a journey, because we go through a lot. We go through a lot of waiting, through a lot of going into campus and asking questions and going back and coming and calling without getting any assistance. There is just too much things it feels like there's too much that's going wrong. And because I am a positive person, I try and think of it in a positive way, to say, I think there's too many of us and very little stuff that they are not able to cope with the amount of service that they must deliver, right? So that's how I would like to think of it. That way it doesn't stress me. It actually encourages me to be more patient with them, as much as I don't know what's happening. But being a third year, I've seen this happening, and I know that they do their best to solve the problems that students will be facing. It takes time, but they try their best. I've seen a lot of problems being solved, so I try and not panic, but it really does feel like everything is just slow, like almost nothing goes perfectly, right? And then the second disadvantage would be that Unisa is constantly trying to better our journeys with it, like students' experiences with it. So they introduce new systems. They try and improve old systems or old ways of doing things. So that comes in a way of a trial and error. So they're never really sure whether it's going to work, but for them to know whether it's going to work or not, then they put it in place and then have us use it to see whether it works or not. So in cases where it works, that's good, but almost half of the time it doesn't work. So let me give you an example. Maybe they introduce a new system, right? And then the new system, say there's an assignment for maybe one module that I'm doing, and there's like 30,000 of us who do that module. Then we want to submit an assignment. We want to submit that assignment. Chances are 90% of those 30,000 people want to submit on the due date. So we all try and submit at the same time, and then the system gets overwhelmed, and then it crashes, and then no one gets to submit. Then now it's an inconvenience to us, but then now they've also discovered that, okay, it doesn't work, something is wrong. Then now we must wait for them to maybe extend the assignment so that we can try and submit it again. So it's always like the trial and error between us and the university. They're just trying. But you can see they mean it in a good way. I mean, they're trying to make our lives easier. They are also trying to make their lives easier if they, for example, they would introduce a system that maybe they can mark assignments electronically, things like those. So that would be another disadvantage. There's just always something going wrong, especially with the system. It crashes a lot. And this year, I've seen a lot of frustrations because they have recently introduced a new system again. So we are also trying to settle in with that, and it's also not coping. But me being me, having seen that they do their best to solve situations, I know it's going to get better. But what sums it up is that you are going to get a lot of frustration while you study with Unisa. So you really need to be positive when you start this journey, because people freak out, people panic, people just stress so much, especially if you're coming from the normal universities. Then you switch into Unisa, then it becomes it's a different environment, it's a different way of doing things. People get frustrated a lot, so you need to be able to keep yourself together and say, you know what, they will fix this. So yeah, that would be the second disadvantage. And then the third disadvantage would be, for me, it would be that communication it's also very slow. It's also very slow because, like I said, you find that there's 3,000 of us doing one module, and there's like one lecturer for that module. And then now every let's say 1,000 of those students need something from the lecturer. We're all going to email him or her, and then now we're going to wait for that person to actually sit down and respond to all of us, which they normally hardly do, because you can't respond to 1,000 people with different questions. I mean, I don't think it makes sense, especially if I need like an answer today, for that someone to actually see my email and respond to it immediately. So I think they struggle a lot with us. It takes me back to saying there's too many of us and too little of them, like everyone who is leading that university. So yeah, talking about the negative stuff is also making me feel negative, so I'm gonna switch right into the positive stuff. With all the negatives being noted, I didn't mention all, but all the three sums up my experience in terms of what I've had to experience the most. Those would be like the biggest things that have affected me so bad. So on to the positives. Okay, on to the positives. The first one would be the study material. I really appreciate the study material, because having been exposed to the study material online and using the laptop and the phone and knowing that I don't like that, I really appreciate the hardcover. they provide us with. It's really, really helpful. Sometimes you don't really have to even buy a textbook when you have the study guide. Sometimes, especially with first year modules, you can get away with not buying a textbook because the study guide normally would like summarize everything. So that for me would be the first biggest advantage. And the second advantage would be the fact that they try, guys. They try. This is from me to those who are already studying, to say they try. Don't dismay when things go wrong. They try and sort it out, as long as they know that it was on their side, the student didn't do anything wrong, as long as they know that you missed the submission because the system crashed. They will try and extend, they will try and look into it and see what they can do, right? Like they do try. So for me, the trying, which comes from understanding the fact that there's little of them and too many of us, which of course I don't think I should be taking responsibility for, but for my mental health sake, it's important for me to understand where they could be coming from, you know, because they also strike. And when you ask what they're striking for, you will hear they're short-staffed or they're not being paid properly. You cannot expect someone to work to their fullest potential or capability if they're not being paid well. So you would sit down and understand why this person is not responding to your emails. Do you understand? You get me? So yeah, for me, the second thing would be them trying. And then the third thing would be that there is help from other students and the SRC. So what I mean by that is there is Telegram, there is Facebook, there is WhatsApp. So what Unisa students do is they come together and then they create a group and then they help each other, because like I said, you find that 1,000 of us have a question to the lecturer, and then we all send an email, but then the lecturer only responds to one student. So then that one student will come and feed the whole group with the information that they got. So there is information in terms of carrying each other. There is that, like, you can get information from Facebook, you can get information from Telegram. So Telegram has like almost all the modules that are offered in Unisa, they have groups on Telegram. Like, you get to join a group. You can go and join a group once you know the modules that you're studying, and inside that group you will find people who are doing the same module, and then now you guys take the whole journey together until you all pass or you are all done with that module. So there is help. It's not like a completely hopeless situation. We are carrying each other. That is the one thing that I appreciate the most. I know if I log into my Unisa and I don't find answers, I can always go into Telegram and go to a specific module that I need answers for. I will definitely get something there. And another good thing about these groups that we have is that you can even get the prescribed books on PDFs. So these people, maybe one student will buy a book. I'm not sure if I should be saying this, but yeah, they scan it and then they make a PDF book for those who can afford. So it really helps a lot. It makes your journey easier. It makes you also feel like you're not alone. And also when there are problems, when you go into the group and you ask and you hear people saying, I'm facing the same thing, I'm facing the same thing. I mean, that's not a positive thing, but when you know you're not going through it alone, it makes you feel better. So yeah, and I asked a question on my Facebook to say, what would you like to know about studying at Unisa? And someone asked me how, if it's not too much work and if it doesn't require a lot. My honest answer is that Unisa needs discipline. You need to be very disciplined, because we don't get lectured at Unisa. You literally have to teach yourself everything. They provide you with the material, they provide you with the exam. They expect you to know the material that they gave you, and then they're going to test you on that. So you need a lot of discipline. You need a lot of time. You need to give yourself enough time to work on it. but discipline is the biggest. Discipline is the biggest. Knowing that you have work to do and you actually do it, that will take you a long way. With first year and second year, I got away with just doing my assignments and doing my and writing my exams, and I passed. But third year is showing me flames. I literally have to sit down and read and understand everything and do assignments that I understand. So it really needs focus, and it really needs you to know why you are there, because it's very different. You don't get spoon-fed, you don't get explanations on information. So you need to like read something, explain it to yourself, and understand it. So that's how Unisa works. And another advantage is that you actually get to work and study at the same time. So you can literally do any kind of job and also study at the same time. So that is, for me, is the biggest thing. I feel like Unisa is not suitable for children, not like children, but the young ones who don't have responsibilities, because I feel like it's going to be very easy for someone to lose track, to just say, oh, you know what, I'm going to study tomorrow, because there's no one following you around. So I feel like Unisa is specifically made for people with responsibilities, people who want to have a degree and also raise kids and also have a family, have a job and build something, you know. I feel like Unisa is very suitable for those kind of people, and it comes in very handy when you know, like me, who wants to work and study at the same time. I don't advise it for someone to just sit at home and then study at Unisa, because you don't keep busy. And for me, that's where depression came from, when I was just sitting at home and studying at Unisa, because you don't go to classes, you're literally always at home, and there's no one who's going to come and say, go do your assignments. You need to tell yourself, I'm going to do my assignment. So if you don't feel like it, you're probably not going to do it. So it's advisable if you are doing other things on the side and then also doing Unisa. But there are times where you need to like study every day. Like now on my third year, I am struggling balancing work with school and raising a family, because now my schoolwork needs so much time, because I need to achieve those high marks so I can get to my honors. So it's becoming a lot. So if you want to study at Unisa, you really need to know what you want. You really need to know what you're getting into, in what you're getting yourself into. It's very important. So yeah, overall, it's a nice university. It allows for so many things to happen in your life. It allows space for you to do a number of things at the same time. And for that, I think that's actually one thing I'm grateful for, because if I had to go to class every day, I wouldn't be able to earn an income, you know. So yeah, that will be it from me today, guys. Until we meet on the next video, which at this point I'm not sure what it's gonna be, but I'm thinking of starting my military wife series, but let's see how it goes. And then yeah, I'm gonna see you then. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you gave it a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends. Please share it with the kids at home. Please share it with your mom or your dad, whoever might want to. You never know, this might even spark them the interest to start a degree, which with Unisa you can do that at any time, whether you're 40 years, whether you're 60 years. You can just register and start your degree, and that is what I am forever grateful for, this university. So yeah, guys, until the next video, I will see you then. I love you so much, and please keep well. Take care of yourselves.